Father Dmitry Sidor plays us the melodic anthem of the Rusin nation. He says this tune dates back some 90 years to when his people had their own autonomy within Hungary. The leader of the Rusin movement in western Ukraine says nowadays life for this ethnic group has turned from sovereignty into a fight for survival.
The pressure of forced assimilation is so strong that if we don't fight for our status, in just 15 years, Rusins will only be mentioned in school books. We're trying to avoid the ethnocide of a whole nation in the very heart of Europe.
The land of the Rusins lies at the foot of the Carpathian Mountains in western Ukraine. Over the centuries it has been part of 4 different countries, losing its autonomy when it became part of the Soviet Union. Now it belongs to Ukraine. But the leader of the Rusins says they're entitled to live in their own sovereign state, just as they did almost a century ago. The nation has its own language and culture, and more than 1,000 years of history behind it. Ever since the fall of the USSR, the Rusins have been asking the Ukrainian government to agree a self-governing autonomy.
They've been reluctant to even talk to us. That's why our council made its own decision to restore Rusin statehood. But there's no separatism here. We're ready to live alongside Ukrainians, respect their money and language, and be a part of their land, but with our own autonomy.
But Pyotr Getsko, Prime Minister of the self-proclaimed state, told us a different story. He showed us a summons to the SBU, the Ukrainian security services, accusing both him and Father Sidor of separatist activities. Getsko says that the Rusin government has already been formed and even prepared passports for the new country.
We will have our own National Guard, our own army to protect our borders, and our own police. We will print our own currency, have our own treasury and banks. We will have all branches of power, including the parliament or Soim.
According to Getsko, the new country will have up to 700,000 citizens. Kiev, on the other hand, mentions just 10,000 Rusins. The leader of the movement says this is proof of Ukraine's unwillingness to recognize them, and they believe they know the reason why. The town of Uzhgorod, the capital of the region, looks like just any other Eastern European city, but this place certainly has a strategic meaning. Almost 80% of Russian gas sold to Europe travels through this territory, and the pipelines are situated just several kilometers from here. Should their plans to become a separate country succeed, the Rusins will receive more than $2 billion of annual gas transit profits from Kiev. But Ukraine's security services are firm in their view that the Rusins' actions are illegal. The SBU has charged Father Sidor with separatism, and he could face up to 3 years in prison.
These separatist organizations are small and pose no real threat. They're not supported by regional or central authority. We know what they're doing, and we will persecute them in full accordance with the law.
Just days after proclaiming a state of their own, the Rusins seem to be going about their everyday lives. They're not uncorking champagne in the streets like the Kosovars did. The leaders of the small nation say they do not want to be compared to other breakaway regions. They say they are living in a land which has been their home for more than a millennium. And that's why in the next 2 months they'll be asking the world to recognize the Podkarpatskaya Rus state. Alexei Rashevsky, RT, Uzhgorod, Ukraine.